Hey everybody out there in the bookverse, it's Stephanie, and today I am back with a video about all the series that I have started and that I have yet to finish, and it's a lot. I'll keep a tally up here as I go through, but I'm thinking it's somewhere between 15 and 20. I have a lot of books on this list and it's a little bit of a problem. I need to work on this. If you are new to my channel, hey, welcome. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you'd like to see more from me, definitely hit the subscribe button down below and the bell icon so you'll be notified when I post new content. Let's jump into these books because there's a lot, and so we need to get going. The series that I have included on this list are ones that I have started and have not finished all of them, and for that I will include ones that they are not completed, as in I have read a book in it and the whole series is not out yet, and series that I have started and just haven't finished, not series that I have DNF'd. So if I DNF'd a series, then I'm not going to include it in this list because I'm not planning on finishing it. So I'm going to start with my one and only manga series that's on here, and that is The Promised Neverland. This is by, I'm going to butcher these names, I'm so sorry. This is by Kayu Shirai and Pasuka Demizu. This is translated from Japanese. It is about these kids that live in this kind of compound. They have a mother figure that takes care of them, and they are pretty much just kind of living their lives. They take these tests every day to see how competent they are and smart and all those things. And then one day they figure out that something is terribly wrong with the place that they live. And I'm not going to go into any more because I don't give spoilers. And this was pretty good. I mean, I kind of enjoyed my time reading it. It had a little bit of weird to it, but it's fun. It's my first ever manga, so I haven't really had much exposure to it, but I did enjoy myself reading it and I would like to continue with it, but I know there are a lot in this series. I think it's up into the double digits. Not that it's that big of a deal because it goes really fast to read it, but this is one that I'd like to finish, but it's not super high on my priority list. Maybe include it in some readathons when I need something short and easy to get through. And along those same lines, I have Descender. This is by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen, and this is a graphic novel series. I actually really enjoyed my time reading this. I thought it was a lot of fun. This is probably my favorite graphic novel that I have ever read. This follows a young boy. He's actually a robot. He's an AI, and he is the last of his kind, and people are hunting him down because he has some sort of programming that is connected to giant robots that attacked their kind of colony of planets. I think he is such a cute little character. His little dog, it's adorable, but I really enjoyed this series and I would love to continue with it. I just don't have the rest of these graphic novels, and I'm kind of waiting until I am out of quarantine to go buy more stuff because it's taking forever for things to ship right now, and it's just, there's issues. But I definitely am going to be continuing with this, and it's pretty high up on my priority list, I think. Now I'm going to be jumping into some middle grade series that I am in, and the first one is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. This, I don't know what the series is actually called. It follows a little girl who had a near-death experience and now she can see ghosts. It was a really cute read. I enjoyed it. I probably will continue on with it maybe during Believe-a-thon, which I believe is in November. There might be 2 this year, I'm not positive, but during Believe-a-thon we read a bunch of middle grades, and so I'll probably continue on with this series during that time. But it was a very cute middle grade series. It's very easy to read, and so I think I will just keep going with it eventually, but it's not that high on my list. The next one on this list I actually would like to get to fairly soon, and that is Wondersmith, The Calling of Morrigan Crow. This is a sequel to Nevermore. The series is not complete. There are, I think, only 2 books in this series out yet. The 3rd one is coming out this year, but I absolutely loved the first book in the series. This is a middle grade series that follows a young girl named Morrigan Crow who is apparently cursed, and she's supposed to die on her 11th birthday, but then she is rescued by a man named Jupiter North and taken to Nevermore, where she has to compete in some trials to try to join their wondrous society so she can stay and live there. I loved it. It was adorable. I loved Morgan. I loved the characters. It was so much fun. I just wanted to keep reading it. And so I really, really want to move on with this series and continue with it and read Wondersmith. Yeah, maybe in the next couple months I'll be able to get to this. Oh, I really hope so, but I love this series, and this is one that I'm definitely going to be continuing with and definitely going to put high up on my list of books to read. Now we're going to be moving on to some YA series that I have started, and we're going to start off with the one and only true contemporary on this list of YA books, and that is To All the Boys I Loved Before series by Jenny Han. This follows Lara Jean, who writes love letters to the boys that she has had love interest in the past, and then they end up getting sent out to these boys and stuff ensues. I have really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great first 2 books. I read the first 2 books in this series. I have yet to read the 3rd one because it is a trilogy, but I really thought it was a cute read. They were adorable. I wasn't in love with them like some people are, but I thought they were really fun to read, and they were easy, they were quick. So I should just read the 3rd one because it is such a fast read and it is so enjoyable for me. But this is a very beloved series that has also been turned into Netflix adaptation, and I love the Netflix adaptation. I thought it was super cute. So I'd love to get to the next one in the series fairly soon because I think it's one that I could actually finish the series soon. The next one is kind of a YA historical mystery series, and that is the Stalking Jack the Ripper series by Carrie Maniscalco. I have only read Stalking Jack the Ripper in this series, the first one, and I believe there are 4 books in this series now, and it is completed. This follows a girl named Audrey Rose, and she wants to be a person who performs autopsies on bodies, especially after potential like murders or something, to try to figure those things out or to figure out why people died. But it's not super lady-like profession to be going into, and this is set in the past, and so that is looked down upon because she is a girl. I enjoyed it. I liked this first book. The main character was fun and she was annoying at times, but her banter between the love interest was really interesting, and I think it is a very fun YA mystery to get into, and it's an easy read, and I really enjoyed it, and so I will continue with this series. I don't know how soon. It's not at the very top of my priority list at the moment. Now we're going to be moving into YA fantasy books, and the first one that I have for you guys is Crier's War by Nina Varela. Going into this, I did not realize that this was actually a series. I thought it was a standalone, but I have finished it, and the ending is so abrupt and nothing is resolved, so obviously this is going to have at least one sequel. I don't know how many are supposed to come out in the series, so obviously I've only read the first book, Crier's War. This is about a world where these automae who were developed by humans, they're kind of made humans almost, take over, and the humans are now the slaves and the automae are in charge and ruling this world. And there is a young girl whose family was killed by the automae, and so she wants to go kill Lady Crier, who is the daughter of the sovereign of this land, and she wants to get revenge, but she ends up kind of starting to get to know her and see where it goes. But I enjoyed it fine. I didn't love it as much as I was expecting to because I heard a lot of people really loved it. I didn't love the human girl's character quite as much. I thought Crier was more interesting, and I enjoyed the part that was from her perspective more. I wasn't really as invested in the world, and I didn't love the plot as much, but it was an okay book, and I think I will continue with the series potentially when the next one comes out. I haven't quite decided yet if I will or not, so I included it on this list anyways, but the next book isn't even out yet, so I don't have to decide yet. The next book on this list I kind of had mixed feelings about as well, which is disappointing because so many people absolutely love this series, and it feels almost like treason to booktube to say that I really disliked this book, but that is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Mortal Instruments series, and this is the first book in her Shadow Hunter world, which is huge and has so many books now. It's so popular. I just didn't love it. It follows a girl who is in the mortal world, and her mother ends up getting kidnapped, and she ends up getting involved with these people called Shadow Hunters, who are there to kind of keep the peace between the downworlders is what they call them, the like werewolves and vampires and all these people who live in the regular world. I just wasn't super invested in it. I didn't love the characters. I know we're supposed to love Jason. So many people are in love with him, but gosh, I found him insufferable. I couldn't stand him. Ugh. And Clary was okay, but she wasn't anyone that I was really rooting for. I didn't really care about her that much. I liked her little friend Simon. I thought he was super cute. He's adorable. I feel like he's gonna get his little heart smushed, but I feel like honestly my favorite character is probably the Warlock. I don't know. I just didn't love it as much as I was expecting to. I'm fairly disappointed. I will continue with this series though, because I have heard that the Infernal Devices, the series that comes after this, is so amazing and so much better than the series. So if you read and get through the series, then you can get onto the Infernal Devices and it is way better. So that's what I'm planning to do. I will push through, and I think I'm actually gonna put this high up on my priority list because I want to get to the Infernal Devices and decide if it's something I love or not. And if I don't love it, then I will just DNF this world. The next series on this list is The Grishaverse by Leigh Bardugo. I have only read the first book in this trilogy, and that is Shadow and Bone. There are 3, obviously. It's a trilogy. It is completed, and I liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun to read. I really enjoyed my time in it. I liked the world. I liked the plot. I was really invested, and it was a quick, fun read. It wasn't anything that I thought was amazing and so good that every single person should read it, but I really did like it. It was fun. So I'm definitely going to be continuing with this as well. I think I'll try to prioritize it kind of high up on my list. Ooh, I feel like I'm saying that about a lot of the books now, but I think, yeah, this is a good one. I think I'll enjoy it. I've heard though that the second book is kind of rough to get through, so we'll see. I might be in a mood to be able to push through a not so great book to continue with this. The next series that I'm kind of on the fence about continuing with, but I probably will give it at least one more book, is the Mirror Visitors series. The first book being A Winter's Promise by Christelle Davos. I didn't exactly love this. It was okay. It was another one where I just wasn't invested in the characters. I wasn't invested in the world. I didn't find it that exciting or that thrilling. It was okay. The writing was okay, but it wasn't anything that I found pulled me in and made me really want to continue with it. I just didn't love it, but I think I'll try to give it one more book just because, just to see how it goes, and if not, then I'll just DNF this series too. Now we're moving on to some books that are kind of more new adult, and the first one in that is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I know this gets stocked in the YA section quite frequently, but after reading it, I feel like it's probably new adult, and I hear that the next book in the series is definitely new adult, so we're gonna put it in there. This is a kind of Beauty and the Beast retelling set in a fairy world where a girl from the mortal world accidentally kills a fairy, and so she has to go to live out her sentence in the fairy world, and she goes to the court of this lord, and she's kind of getting to know him, living there, trying to figure out the secrets of what is going on in this world, because obviously something's up with the magic system, and she's concerned that it is going to be affecting her family in the world of the mortals. I honestly love this book. I felt like it was so entertaining. I was invested. I cared about it. It was so much fun for me. I just really enjoyed it. The writing wasn't anything spectacular, and the world wasn't anything that was nothing we'd seen before, but it was just so much fun. I really enjoyed myself, and I'd recommend reading it if you just want a good kind of fantasy romance read that is easy to get through, but just really enjoyable and fun. So definitely going to be continuing with this series. I hear the next book is the best, so I'm really excited to be getting to it. The next series that I have started is the Serpent and Dove series by Shelby Mahurin. This is about a man who is kind of a warrior for the church and a girl who is a witch, and they end up having to get married, and he is a witch hunter and he does not know that she is a witch, and they end up having a slow burn romance, and yeah. I didn't love it as much as I was expecting. This was an extremely hyped book. I was expecting to absolutely love it, and I thought it was fun. I think the magic system in this book is very interesting, and that's something that I am looking forward to getting to know more. I think the witches side of it is something that I am very intrigued by, and I would love to see more of in the next books, but this one is focused kind of a little bit more on just their relationship and the church and like the obstacles and all those things going on and just the politics behind it. I didn't love the romance. I think that was probably the thing that really made this book not great for me, is I was not invested in their romance. I didn't think it was realistic. I didn't enjoy it that much, but I do want to continue with this series because I think that the magic system and getting to know the witches side of this is going to be very interesting. I think the next book comes out sometime in August or something like that, so definitely looking forward to that, but at least it's not something I feel pressured to keep reading right now because the next book's not even out. And another series where only the first book is out is Immortal Sands by Mackenzie Mon. This is The Soul of Teres, I believe is how you say that word. I don't know how many books are going to be in this series. This is a self-published series. It is about a girl who was imprisoned in this very high security prison in this fantasy world. She ends up escaping and she's going on the run to save her sister and overthrow the people who are currently leading their fantasy world that they live in. And there is magic involved in this, and some people have different kinds of magic. There are different groups of people in it as well. There's kind of the fairies, there's just so much going on here, but it is very intriguing. I loved reading it. I really want to know what happens in the next book. There were some great twists in this. There were great characters that I'm super invested in, and so I am really excited for the next book to come out. I think it's coming out in a few months, so I will probably be rereading this one before I read that one, just so I can be fresh with remembering everything in it, because I think it's been a couple years since this book came out. Now we are going to be moving on to the adult series that I have not finished, and they are all fantasy, which is not surprising because that's what I love the most. We're going to be starting off with The Name of the Wind. I think it's the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. This is about a young boy whose family is killed, and he goes to a school for magic, and he is trying to figure out the secret behind the people who killed his family. And I think he wants to get revenge on them, I'm guessing, but I absolutely love this world. I think it is so amazing. I love the writing style. I love the story. I love the characters. I absolutely loved this book. I have read the first 2 books in this series. It's supposed to be a trilogy, and the 3rd one is not out yet. And I think it's been something like 10 years that we've been waiting for this book. It's been a really long time. I don't have high hopes actually that Patrick Rothfuss is actually going to finish this series, but I included it on this list because I really did love the first 2 books in the series, and I'm still hoping that the 3rd one will come out. I can't necessarily recommend this to anyone though, because I don't want to put anyone else through the trauma of reading for 2 very thick fantasy books, getting super invested in the world and the characters, and then not knowing how it turns out. I just think that's mean. The next series is one where I just recently read the first book in that, and that is the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb, the first one being The Assassin's Apprentice. I love this book. I think this is going to be a great series. I think it could be potentially one of my favorites. I had so much fun with it. This world is simple enough that you don't feel like you have to work to get to know it, but I do enjoy it a lot. It is a high fantasy book that follows Fitz, who is the illegitimate son of the Crown Prince, and he goes to live in the castle, and he's kind of swept up in a little bit of the political stuff that's going on. He is trained to become the assassin for the king, and I just loved it. I loved Fitz as a character. I thought it was really well done, really well written. I know that this is a trilogy, so the Farseer trilogy. I have only read the first one, but I do know that it continues on in other books within the same world, following these same characters, and I think there's something like 16 books at this point, which I don't know if I'm going to commit myself to all of them. Let's be honest, that's a lot of books, and I think this is the shortest one out of all of them. But I definitely am going to finish this trilogy at least. I'll say that much. Probably this next trilogy as well, because Becca over at Becca in the Books and Cody at Cody's Book Corner are doing a Elderling read along with these books. So I want to do that with them. I had a lot of fun doing this first book, so I'd like to continue at least through the books that they're going to be doing. The next series that I have started that also has a lot of books in it is The Last Wish, which is the beginning of the Witcher series. This is actually a collection of short stories that comes before the real series starts, but you need to read these books before you jump into the Witcher series, apparently, is what I have heard. This is about a man who is a witcher. He goes around and he kills these supernatural beings, or he takes care of them for people. He's pretty much like a bounty hunter. He's for hire. These places will pay him to take care of their supernatural problems, and he moves on to the next place. It wasn't as exciting as I was expecting. It wasn't something that I was absolutely in love with. I hear it gets better once you get into the actual series part of it, instead of these 2 prequel books that come before it. So I'm definitely looking forward to continuing with this series, and I might need to just push through the second short story book that comes before the actual series, and then I think I'll enjoy it a lot more. Okay, this is I feel like I just keep going, but here's another adult fantasy series I've started, The Bear and the Nightingale. Is it the Winter Night trilogy? I think that's what it's called. But this follows a young girl in Russia who everyone thinks is a witch because she can kind of see these spirits that are part of Russian folklore, but she can see them and they are real. And she lives in these woodsy area. It has politics going on. It has family dynamics in there. It has a little bit of romance-ish type stuff for some of the characters. I really loved this book. I felt like it had such a fairy tale feel to it, but it had a little bit of a dark side too, and I enjoyed it so much. I was really invested in it, and this is one that I think I want to continue really soon because it took me a while to get used to the language of this book and to get used to the names and to get everyone figured out. And so I think if I don't continue with it soon, I'm going to forget, and it's going to be really hard for me to figure out the next books without rereading this one. And I don't particularly want to reread it because do you see how many series I've started? I don't think I can afford to reread a lot of books at this point. But yeah. This one is a trilogy. I've read the first one and I think I'm going to jump into the next two as soon as possible. And the last on this list finally is a book that the series is not complete. Only the first one has come out, and that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is an adult urban fantasy book. It follows a girl who gets into Yale as part of a secret society. So there are 8 secret societies that practice different types of magic at Yale, and she is brought in to be part of the 9th society that is there to kind of regulate the other societies and make sure that they're not abusing their power and not abusing their power too much. Let's be honest, they are not super ethical with it. But at least they're not like, she wants to make sure they're not out there murdering people or doing things that are going to get a lot of people killed. That type of thing. And she is recruited because she can see what they call greys, which are ghosts. And these ghosts can really wreak havoc on this magic that they are performing, and they can kind of influence a lot of things. So it's really beneficial that she can see that. But things happen. There's a murder and she's trying to figure it out. She is somehow left alone to take care of all of this Ninth House business on her own when she is supposed to have a mentor there to help her for the first year. So I loved it. I absolutely love this book. I thought it was so intriguing. I was drawn in. I had to know what happened. I just couldn't get enough of this book. I wanted to know what happened. I wanted to keep reading. I just wanted everything to be figured out. But I did really love this book. I am super excited for the next book to come out. I don't even know when that's going to be. I don't know if it's even been announced yet. I don't think so. But I think this world is very interesting, and I think the next book is going to be going into an area that is very, I just have to know what happens. So this one, as soon as the next one comes out, I'm probably going to be reading it. And that is all the series I have started and not finished. If I'm not mistaken, that is 18 series that I have started and yet to finish. That's kind of crazy. That's a little excessive. And I think I might need to prioritize finishing series instead of just starting new ones, because I'm gonna forget and then I'm gonna have to reread, and then I'll have less time to read new books, and it's just gonna be a whole mess, and I just don't wanna do that with my life. So if you have any suggestions of series that I should prioritize from this lovely list that I have given you, definitely let me know down in the comments. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more from me, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.